When Shumi was 16, her parents hung themselves from the sycamore tree behind their house. No note, no warning, just two silhouettes swaying in the morning mist. They cut the tree down. The house sat empty, left to rot on the edge of the woods like a wound no one wanted to dress. 11 years passed. Shumi never returned until a lawyer called to inform her that she was the sole inheritor of the house. She didn't want it, but grief has a strange pull, like gravity in the wrong direction. So, one wet October morning, she found herself standing before it again. The same chipped paint, the crooked shutters. The sycamore was gone, but the soil beneath it still looked wounded. The front door groaned as she pushed it open. Inside, the air was stale, but warm, unnaturally so. No dust, no cobwebs. The furniture was still there, as if someone had been living there all along. She stepped into the living room. The floor creaked under her weight. A cold draft brushed her cheek, and that's when she heard it. A whisper. So faint she almost dismissed it, but it wasn't the wind. It came from the walls. A single breath of sound, like someone murmuring her name through clenched teeth. Shumi froze. "Hello?" she called, but her voice sounded small and swallowed. There was no answer, only silence, and the faint smell of sap. In her father's study, tucked under a loose floorboard, she found a journal. Most of the entries were benign, sketches, notes, the ramblings of a reclusive architect. But the last page made her stomach twist. They whisper her name now. They know I hear them too. She must never return, or they'll finish what the tree started. As she read it, something scratched the wall behind her, slow and deliberate. She pressed her ear to the paneling. A voice, barely audible, whispered directly into her skull. "Shumi, stay!" She stumbled back, heart hammering. Hook 3, the threat stirs. That night, Shumi couldn't sleep. She kept dreaming of the sycamore tree, only now it was growing again. Massive, bloated, its branches twitching like fingers. She awoke with a gasp. The house was still, too still, and then she heard it again. Rustling. But not outside. Inside the house. She stepped into the hallway. A shape darted past her in the corner of her vision. She turned to follow, but the corridor stretched longer than she remembered. No doors, no windows, just darkness folding into itself. And then, slam, the door behind her shut. She was sealed in. The room at the end of the hallway didn't exist before. It was made of stone, cold, damp. The walls oozed with something sticky and dark. The air reeked of sap and blood. Voices swirled around her now. Not one, but many. Layered over each other, calling her name, telling her to stay, to join them. She screamed into the void, but it only answered in a voice she hadn't heard in over a decade. Her father's. "You never left, Shumi." She blinked. Suddenly she was back in the study. The journal was gone. The windows were bricked over. The walls. They pulsed gently, breathing, waiting. At dawn, Shumi stepped into the backyard. The morning was quiet. The grass wet with dew. The stump of the old sycamore still sat there, cracked and hollowed with time. But now, something was pushing up through the soil. A branch, fresh and green, it curled toward her like a finger. Shumi dropped to her knees. It couldn't be. She'd seen it die, burn, and yet it was growing. She whispered to no one or to everything, "It's still alive." A gust of wind swept behind her, but there was no wind. Then softly, right at her ear, something breathed, "Welcome home," and the ground beneath her feet shifted.